So today we're going to be starting off positive reinforcement on the right foot. This video is for anybody wanting to start their positive reinforcement journey, whether that's for long-term training goals or if you just want to teach your horse something cool, like how to smile, do the Spanish walk, or bow. This video is also for anyone just wanting to teach their horse better manners around food. If you're thinking about heading down to the arena with pockets full of chopped carrots or chopped apple, then you are definitely in the right place. Studies have shown that positive reinforcement is hands down the most effective training method, and that's because the anticipation of a food reward triggers the release of dopamine in the brain, and it's a really good dopamine trigger. Dopamine is responsible for motivation. So when we use positive reinforcement, we have these really motivated, enthusiastic horses that are willing participants of their training sessions. If it's done correctly, and the problem with it, as with any training method, is that it's easy to get it wrong. Now, with negative reinforcement, when we get negative reinforcement wrong, which unfortunately the majority of people are doing, you end up with less noticeable downsides. So your horse becomes duller and duller, less and less enthusiastic, and you probably have to use more and more positive punishments in order to get them to do what you would like them to. One thing that's almost guaranteed when you start using positive reinforcement, unless your horse has had a previous bad experience with positive reinforcement, is that there's going to be excitement. Now, that excitement can turn into a bad thing, or it can be contained and turned into some really good motivation and willingness to engage. The way you start off positive reinforcement and also the way that you conduct your sessions determines whether that excitement remains a positive thing or if it becomes too much and ends up being a negative thing. Taking a bit of time to introduce positive reinforcement correctly is well worth it, and I really encourage you to make sure that you do spend the time getting the beginning of your positive reinforcement journey right before you dive into teaching your horse anything cooler or more advanced. So what you are going to want is a pouch full of something like this, and this is Spurring Horse Feed's 5 or 6 mix, which is basically just different types of chopped grass, nothing super exciting. And you want a strong barrier like a fence or a stable door between you and the horse, so that you're not constantly having to get this excited horse away from you or use any type of positive punishment. You want this to be a really nice, pleasant experience for the horse. And basically what you're going to teach is that whatever marker you use, so whether it's a click, a whistle, some sort of other mouth noise, that predicts food reliably. A marker is something that you do to indicate to your horse that that particular moment in time was the behavior that you're looking for, while you go and get your treats out of your bag and get it to your horse. Because horses need you to indicate immediately when they get something right or wrong, for that matter. They can't associate, what happened a few seconds ago with what they're getting now. If they're getting a reward, it means that what they're doing right now is the right thing, unless you've taught them a marker and they understand that that is what earned them the reward. So that's one of the things you're going to teach. And the other thing is we are going to teach good manners. So the horse only really gets a marker and a treat when he's standing patiently and politely and not basically asking us for treats. I'm not going to give him any treats because he's really he's looking for treats now. And if I rewarded this behavior, even on the odd occasion, think of a slot machine. There's a reason people get addicted to gambling, and that's because of the reinforcement schedule, the reinforcement pattern. You never know when that hit is coming, when that dopamine spike is coming, when the win is going to happen. And when we do positive reinforcement with horses or dogs, it's really important to remember that, you could withhold treats and withhold treats and withhold treats, for so many times that a horse does this sort of thing, and you give in one time. That's getting your horse addicted. It's gambling. They're going to keep trying because they don't know when it's going to come, but at some point it's going to come. If you want to see a behavior disappear, you've got to ignore that behavior completely. There can never be a reward for that behavior. So just make sure that you never give in to your horse, pulling faces and, trying to get treats out of you, because even if you reinforce it once in a blue moon, that behavior is really going to stick. Okay, so I use a vocal marker. I say tsk, which sort of sounds like a clicker but isn't a clicker. I just feel like I'm not coordinated enough to have, extra things in my hands. So Blue here, he's very keen, but I'm going to click every time he turns his head away and stands politely and basically doesn't ask. And I'm going to feed him where I want his head to be. So I'm not going to feed him up close to my body because that's not where I want his head to be long term. Good boy. Now initially you're going to be reinforcing and rewarding with treats a lot. Think of it like I've got a training principle called supercalifragilistic, and that's all about like a toddler learning to say supercalifragilistic. We're going to build up behaviors little bit by little bit. So you wouldn't expect a toddler to say supercalifragilistic from the get-go. You would maybe get them to say soup or super and then supercal, or you would build cal separately from supercal. Good boy. And I'm going to concentrate and not talk to you so that I don't teach Blue the wrong things. Okay, so he's already learning to turn his head away from me and not crowd me, which is what I really want. Once he's got this down and he understands that my marker means food, we'll then graduate to having him in the arena with me, or me in the field with him. And see how he does with that. If he can stand patiently, if he understands that he doesn't have to do anything to get treats. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, is, they introduce positive reinforcement to get the horse to do something. So to smile, or to paw, or to bow, or do the Spanish walk. And the horse thinks that it's got to do something for treats, versus understanding that it just needs to sit patiently. It would be like, teaching a dog to speak on command before it learns how to just sit patiently and quietly or lie on the floor while you're eating. And you would have a dog that just constantly, is barking at you when you're eating, versus learning that, it gets rewarded when it lies flat on the floor. And that is basically what we're doing here. So he's not pushed up against the fence. You see there's a nice big gap here between him and the fence, which is really good. Good boy. He's hopefully having a good time. Okay, nice and calm. Good boy. So that was really good. He actually held his head that side. He didn't come back towards me. And that's what we're looking for ultimately, is longer and longer gaps between behaviors. So what we're looking for, like supercalifragilistic, is once he understands the concept of what to do through tiny little slices, we're going to ask for longer and longer durations. So I would expect him to hold his head away for longer and longer periods, and that he understands that he just needs to chill out. Okay, so for default neutral, you want your horse loose in a space with you, and you're going to be armed with your bag of low value treats to try and keep excitement low. Hi fella. And pretty much what you're going to do is what you were doing with the fence in between you. So you're going to be rewarding nice calm behavior when he's not looking for treats. So to start off with, you might find that your horse is keen on investigating your pockets. So make sure to use your marker, which your horse now understands means food. Every time they head away from you, I've got little jackpots in my pocket here. So every now and again he's getting a hay pellet. That was really good. Good boy. What you'll notice is I'm not correcting him. If he comes in, he's just not going to get anything from it. So there's already an increase in excitement. There's already an increase in his excitement level because he's now getting, little jackpots. We teach default neutral for a number of reasons. One, so that our horse doesn't throw behaviors at us. Horses that do not learn default neutral up front think that they have to do something in order to earn rewards to earn treats, so you find that they are constantly pawing and nuzzling and performing, and they can't just chill out. You want a horse that is able to just chill out, so you don't need to constantly manage their excitement. So default neutral is basically teaching them that they don't have to do anything in order to obtain rewards. They just need to stay nice and relaxed and calm. Default neutral is also something that you will come back to time and again in your sessions. A lot of people skip the step and it ends up creating frustration and too much excitement in our horses when you just go, go, go. Great, we've got this nice, enthusiastic, willing partner. Let's teach the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and go, 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 go. And our horses end up with something called reinforcement burnout, which is where it's just all a bit too much. Imagine being in a test constantly and constantly, trying to get the right answer all the time, versus getting a few things right, taking a break, processing, remembering what it was. It helps you learn faster by taking breaks. So default neutral is something that you're going to return to time and time again in between other exercises, just to let your horse chill out, calm down, reconnect with them as well, and not be on this constant drive, this constant dopamine drive, which can actually backfire in the end and end up creating a horse that actually doesn't want to participate anymore. So we're going to just decrease the level of excitement by doing solely boring low-value grass. Sometimes you might need to switch hands. There, when I was using my left hand, I was getting very, into his chest, which I don't want. I just want his head to be kind of neutral, his neck to be nice and relaxed. What I want him to understand is that he doesn't need to do anything in order to earn a treat. He just needs to stand there. He's currently turning his head away, and I don't mind that because it's a step in the right direction. Again, supercalifragilistic. Nice. As for me and trying to get up the treats. Okay, so you never want to do anything for too long. This is whether you're doing positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. Drilling does not make learning faster. Hey Blue, no. Drilling does not make learning faster. Taking breaks in between exercises actually helps horses process what they've just learned, and doing short sessions will actually progress you faster than going round and round and round doing the same thing for hours on end. I know that's a bit weird for people because we work based on a clock, which horses do not understand, so it can seem quite random for them. Blue. So try and keep your sessions short and sweet and end on a positive note. So Blue was doing really well there. I'm not necessarily going to end my session here, but I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go and set up some poles. I'm going to let him wander around. He can go and do his own thing. If he wants to roll, he can roll. And then we'll pick up again once he's had a little bit of downtime just to kind of process it. When it comes to horses, most of us are simply learning the dance steps to somebody else's dance. Real success with horses comes from being choreographers. If you'd like to have a better understanding of horses than 99% of horse people out there, visit www.zenithhorseandhuman.com/courses. My courses share the gold nuggets that I have shed blood, sweat, and tears for over the past 25 years. I've learned the hard way so that you don't have to. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.